Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our mass making sessions. We're up to week number 276. We are making easy pockets booklets from one sheet of paper today. So if you want to craft along, you're going to need some paper. I've got digitals, and again I say this every week, that's because I predominantly have digitals these days. You can use whatever paper you like. I would recommend, you know, not something too thin. So if you've got, like, say, old book page, not that really flimsy book page or the brittle book page, but something kind of like slightly more robust. I'm using paper that's 120 GSM. So normal kind of copy paper is about 70 or 80. This is a little bit thicker than that, but it's not the sort of thicker card that I like to use. So, you know, some paper. You're going to need some scissors or a paper trimmer or something. Well, actually, no, not a paper trimmer, just some scissors. Yeah, just some scissors really. You're going to need either your scissor handles or a bone folder for kind of like squishing. I'm going to just use my scissor handles. You're going to need some glue. I like to just use the Anita's tacky glue for doing paper to paper. It's like a PVA based glue, so that's what I'll be using. I've got a glue spreader, which I just like to have like an old sort of gift card or something. I also like to have some tissue or dried wipe to kind of like mop out any excess glue. Aside from that, you might want to have things like some distress ink and a blendy tool and things for just kind of inking up your paper, but it's up to you really. So let's get making this. So my paper is A4 size, and that's what I find kind of works best for this. Again, that's kind of similar to like the US letter. This isn't a kind of definite, so you know, if you've got pieces of paper slightly different to that, it will just mean that your pocket books are slightly different size. So, you know, don't kind of feel if you haven't got A4 sheets you can't make these. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take my paper and fold it in, so turn it upside down, so the side that you want facing, you know, for your outside, turn that upside down. Then you're going to just fold your piece down, portrait, always have to think portrait, landscape, portrait, and you're going to bring it down to where you want your pocket book to be. Now, if I fold this, and then I'll describe kind of what I mean by that. So I'm going to squish my pocket book down here. Okay, this here at the side is going to be your main pockets. So when I say fold it down, I'm saying bring it down to how big you want your side pockets to be. Then what you're going to do, you're going to take your other sort of section, the section that's not folded now, and you're going to fold that up to form another sort of pocket. So what you've got basically, you're going to have a pocket here and a pocket here, and then you're going to have two pockets here. Okay, so then what you want to do, squish all your bits down, and then you just want to take your piece and then fold it in here, so like that. Okay, squish that down like this. Now at this point, what I like to do is, you see here where we've got our piece that we folded up there, open it back out like this, okay, and then fold it sort of in on itself like that, so you've got the sort of inner section here. And then what you want to do is just take out, like, I mean like the tiniest slither here. So just get your scissors and just kind of like snip that out. Oops. Snip that out to there. Okie dokie. So literally I took out like a tiny little bit from, you know, from the side that I was cutting, but you can see it's kind of formed like there a little gap. Now the reason why we do this is because if you just glue your piece of paper down with the fold there, which you can do, you can sometimes end up with like a bit of a baggy pocket or a bit of a sort of creased edge where it's glued. So if you kind of like just take out just that slither here, it just enables you to get a much better sort of pocket. So it's an optional thing, but you will be much more happy with your pockets once you've done that. So, you know, I'd kind of recommend it really as a step. Then what you want to do, get your glue you're going to open your pocket back out. Now you want to glue down along the centre here, oops, like that, and then you just want to glue down along the edge here, oops, like that. Okay, squish that down, and again you can use your bone folder for this. Squish it down along here and along here, like that. Okay. Like that. And then what you want to do, oops, sorry, just got a bit of a smear of glue there. Right, then what you want to do is these two pieces here that are going to be your little pockets, you just want to literally pop a little bit of glue up each edge, each side edge, like that. Glue that down like that. And then on the other side here as well. So there. And then there. Okay. So, and again, you know, you might want to just spread it down with your glue spreader, which just kind of helps it from being sort of, you know, too baggy. It kind of like stretches it right out. So then what you've got is you've got your little foldy booklet, and you've got a pocket here on the edge, like that, and then you've just got a pocket here on each side as well. So they are such lovely little pockets, aren't they? Or lovely little booklets. And literally they could not be easier, but you've got a lot of kind of like, you know, sort of mileage space, I suppose you call it, you know, like journaling space in there to tuck things. But they could not be more simple to do. So I will kind of run you through one again, not that I probably need to because they're so easy, but this was the Mulberry Garden paper, by the way, and the inside, this just happened to be a double-sided sheet, is from my pink patisserie papers. So I will try and remember to tell you what papers I'm using, because I know that, you know, lots of people like to know what papers we're using. So this one here, this is from my new papers, which is the Vault Collection Set 2, sort of the second edition of the Vault papers. So again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my piece of, oh, and this one is just something I didn't end up using when I was creating my fashion plates. So again, bring this right down. So I would kind of say leave in, you know, just like an inch or two kind of at the side. Yeah, a couple of inches really, just under. A couple of inches there at the side. I've not folded that quite straight. Like that. And then squish that down. Like that. Okay. Then we're going to take this piece here, fold it up, remember, as our little pockets. So like that. Then just squish that down with your bone folder like this. Now my printer's not quite printed borderless here, which is really annoying, so I might even just trim this down slightly on the edge, just because that's annoying me, kind of seeing it with a little bit of a white edge. So, you know, I might have now made that not very straight, but you know. And then fold this over here. Oops. Oh my goodness. I mean, it can even be tricky, obviously, to fold it, because you've got just that bulk, you know, from where you've got the, you know, paper sort of folded. It just creates a bit of bulk, which of course is then like a point of resistance. So like that. Now you can see my paper's kind of creased in here. So, you know, like when we did that little slither, that's the kind of thing that we're trying to avoid. So that's why we do that little kind of snip out. So again, unfold this, just this edge, fold it in on itself here. And, and then you're going to just take like the teeniest little bit. Oops. Oh my goodness. Oh, I've not got very steady hands today for some reason. I don't know what that's about. Okay, like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could match up your edges here. So you could take tiny little slither off of those. So they're kind of like more shaped like that as well. Personally, I, you know, probably would make a bit of a hash of doing that, and I'd end up with them all sorts, and I'd have to keep on adjusting them. So I'm not going to bother. There's hardly any space here at all, so I don't think it really matters. And the other thing that you could do, I'm just thinking, is actually, I'm thinking you could not bother gluing them down at the bottom. So I don't think tried this, but let's give this a try. I mean, this is why partly I love doing the mass making, is because we kind of evolve over time and then discover other things. Each time we make things, you know, we kind of discover something else. So glue down here in that middle sort of spine, like that. Not bother gluing that edge, because in all honesty, it's not going to come undone, if you see what I mean. So you might just give yourself a bigger pocket. You see here, we've got that glued section down the bottom. By not gluing this down, you're giving yourself the entire edge. So to be honest, I think I prefer them like that. So we just go in here, glue tiny little bit down the edge, tiny little bit down that edge, like that. Okay. And then on the other one, tiny bit up there. I don't know what's going on with my hands today. They're really shaking for some reason, which is really annoying, because obviously that just makes it not great for doing any kind of like tutorial, does it? But anyway, right. So then we're going to just spread the glue right to the edge, knock that up, spread the glue right to that edge, knock that out. Yeah, I mean, this is now my third round of mass making, and it's taken me till now to actually realise, don't bother gluing down the edge. You're going to get a bigger pocket. So that's literally all there is to these. Now, you can probably see I've just got sort of a weird edge there where I trimmed it, so it's not quite straight. But again, that doesn't really matter. Now, once you've done these, of course, it's up to you. You could like staple some pages in or stitch some pages in if you wanted, you know, so you kind of had extra pages in there. The other thing that you could do, you could fold this the other way, so your pockets were on the outside. So we'll do one of those just to quickly demonstrate. So again, this is my new From the Vault 2nd edition again. So I'm just going to come down, and this is a page from my new Halloween collection, but I'm not sure that this one made it into the final cut. So yeah, can't guarantee it did. But we're going to just kind of like bring this down again to here. Okay, squish that down here like that. Okay, and then we're going to fold this up here, and then this time what we're going to do, we're going to fold it the other way round, like that. So as our pockets are on the outside rather than the inside. And, you know, that's just kind of then a little bit of a different take on it. Now, the only thing that I would mention there is obviously these ones, you'd be able to actually glue this into a journal. You know, you could glue it kind of and have it as a pocket or a tuck spot or whatever in a journal, because your pockets are on the inside. If you do it with the pockets on the outside, that can only really be like paper clipped in or popped into a pocket or whatever, because if you glue that down, of course, you're going to lose the ability to use the, you know, the pocket that's on the back. So that's just the only thing that I would mention. However, on the plus side, because there's always a kind of like, you know, yeah, a downside and a, you know, a positive and a negative. So on the plus side, you don't really need to cut out that little notch there, because this hasn't then got that kind of bulk of paper. So, you know, there are kind of pluses and minuses to this. So again, going to just take my glue, go straight down that center point there, like that. Glue that down like that. Okay. And then here, just, oops, I've lost my bit there. There we go. And then just to the edge, to the other edge, like that. Oops. Take that in like that. Okay, and then just smoosh that down to the edge. And then this one to that edge. Okay, so exactly the same. You've then got your cute little pocket book. Just squish this down. like that. And then you could obviously put your pages and things in there. Or if you didn't want to put pages in, you could just put like some coffee dyed paper on the inside or something, where you could have like journaling space. So loads of different things that you can do with these. You know, on here you could put like, say, thumb holes in here if you wanted. You know, all different things that you can do with these. They're quite a versatile pocket. You could obviously attach things like, you know, baker's twine or something. You could have eyelets on there if you wanted. The only thing that I would say is this is thinnish paper, so if you were doing things like eyelets, you'd have to be a little bit careful. But definitely you've got loads of options. You could like round the corners, you know, loads of different things that you can do to make these look, you know, really quite different. So yeah, we're just going to get making, sort of doing like a mass make, sort of assembly line style make for these, and hopefully just have a really productive kind of like 40 minutes or so, just having a lovely catch up, and yeah, just kind of like relax really. I will try and remember to tell you the papers that I'm using as we go, because I know that obviously lots of people like to know the papers that we're using. So now I have got quite a few different papers that I've put in my shop this week. So yeah, I'm going to be using a few of these. So this is another one of those, the Vault Set 3. So let's do this one. Just deciding which way. Yeah, let's do it like this. So what I will do, I'm going to do all my folding first, and then we'll do all of our gluing, and then depending on whether we have the pocket on the inside or the outside, we'll do all of that snipping and all of that kind of at the same time. So yeah, so like that. Okie dokie. That one. And then I've got quite a few lovely florals that I'm putting in my shop. Now these aren't in my shop while I'm filming, but I'm aiming to put them in today. So fingers crossed they will be in there by the time that this video goes up tomorrow. I don't know what they're going to be called yet. So they are possibly going to be, oh, I don't know, I'm afraid. I will try and put the description that I'm, or sorry, going to try and put the title of them in the video description. So yeah, probably, I don't know, maybe pink florals. I'm not sure whether they're all pink. I need to kind of double check and go through them. But yeah, these hopefully I will put in my shop within the next, you know, 24 hours. So hopefully by the time this video goes up, they'll be in my shop. So absolutely love these papers, and I can just see so many uses for these. So yeah, let me know what you think. I love using floral papers. They're just kind of like one of those kind of, you know, really great sort of you know, like when you get dressed and you need those kind of like basic things to put with everything. So like mine, I always wear a polo neck for some reason. In the winter I'm just constantly in a polo neck, so today I've got a cardigan with a polo neck. So that's what I would call like a floral paper. It's kind of like just a basic, isn't it, that looks great with everything. So yeah. Now what I've also got is I've got these gorgeous ones which look a little bit like sort of curtain fabric, don't they? And then you've got like a mix of like the pink with the sort of curtain fabric. So yeah, really nice kind of papers these are. So I'm looking forward to using these. Obviously I've only just kind of finished making them, so I haven't played with them at all, but I can't wait. I think they're going to make really lovely pieces. So yeah, anyway, so I am filming this on a Monday to go up for you guys on a Tuesday. So I hope everybody's week has started out well. Obviously my week's only just that second started, so it's a little bit early to tell probably, but yeah, it's a really beautiful day out there today. So I mean, it is cold, you know, I'm feeling very chilly sat here even though I'm in my 2 jumpers, so I can't pretend it's lovely and warm. But oh my gosh, the sun is shining. I'm looking out the window, it's like, wow, it looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous out there. So yeah, which is so nice. I love it when it's like that, you know, the crisp cold days. So yeah, I can't remember what the weather's been like aside from that, to be honest. I can't really remember. But today definitely looks absolutely gorgeous. So this one is my Love Collection papers. So, and then that's the Bees collection. I think that's in the pinks and the greens and lilacs, it might be called. Yeah, so what have I been up to since last week? What have I been up to? trying to think. Trying to think. It's all just a blank. Well, I've watched nothing really of note on Netflix. I finished watching that thing Accused, which was that series I have been watching, so I really enjoyed that. I won't bore you again with it because I know I've talked about it a couple of times already, but yeah, really enjoyed that. What else? I don't think we went to the cinema last week. There wasn't really anything kind of worth watching, I think. Oh, this is again from the Vault, set 2, so yeah, really loving these ones as well, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think we went to the cinema. I can't remember now what we did, actually. Oh, no idea. One of the nights I cooked like a stew. Now, I've talked loads of times about the fact I barely cook anymore. Well, I would say barely to never cook anymore. You know, my daughter and my son just say, no, Mum, don't cook for us. No, no. Now, I like to think that I'm an okay cook. Clearly, I'm deluded because, wow, how many kids would just say, no, Mum, don't cook for us? You know, they just wouldn't, would they? So my cooking's clearly shocking. But yeah, I think partly it's because they just want to have what they want to have and they don't want to have, you know, what I've chosen. And yeah, that's fair enough. These are both from my bees collection. I can't remember which colour these were from, to be honest, but yeah, absolutely love these bees papers. I must say I use these, you know, quite a bit, and I've done a lovely folio which needs finishing off in this, so yeah, I must get finishing that. Anyway, so I cooked a stew, I think it was Thursday night. Well, I have to say, I cooked it in the slow cooker. Now, we call our slow cooker Fred whenever I cook in the slow cooker. So I photographed it, you know, because it was such a miracle that I'd actually cooked something. So I photographed it and I sent it to my son while he was at work. And I said, oh, Fred's cooking for us tonight, you know. He was so chuffed, I have to say. So, you know, actually, to be fair, maybe I've killed the cooking for them, you know, like they've been doing it now for quite a while. And so maybe now they're like, oh, do you know what? Even if she cooks rubbish, we'd rather have that than have to cook. I don't know. Because he was like, oh, that was so nice not to have to cook for myself. So he was actually really chuffed. My daughter, not so much, but I'll come on to that in a second. So anyway, so I cooked it in the slow cooker. I couldn't really tell you what went in there, to be honest. It was just kind of a mixture of things. This is the patisserie papers in the blues and greens, blues and pinks, I think. So yeah, I chucked in, what did I put in? I think carrots, sweet potato, celery, lentils, kidney beans, and a tin of baked beans. So, and then I put in, you know, like you get those seasoning packs. So I got like one that was sausage casserole. So I put that in. Well, I have to say, when I dished it up, my gosh, it just looked like slop, you know, like it was stuck on the serving spoon thing and I was having to like dollop it out, you know. But I did kind of laugh and said to the kids, now look, it's not about the look, it's all about the taste. So that's a kind of standing joke in our house, you know, whenever anything looks rubbish, which invariably it often does, I just laugh and say, oh, it's not about the look, it's just about the taste, you know. So we've come to accept that now. This again is that from the Vault set 2, and then this one is the Regency collection papers. So I'm going to do a stripy one. So anyway, dolloped it out onto the plates, and I just laughed. I said, oh, look, don't judge it by its appearance, you know. Well, I have to say, it was so tasty, and it was such a winter warmer, because I think it was really cold that day. And yeah, it was such a winter warmer. It was really, really nice. Really enjoyed it. And I just love it when you're cooking with the slow cooker. And then I go downstairs and I can smell that smell of cooking, or even better still, you know, if you've been out, so like my son and daughter have been out, when they got in, the house all smelt of cooking and, you know. But yeah, we sat down to eat it and, you know, my son actually was like, oh, this is really nice, you know, really enjoyed it. Oh, just what a winter warmer. Oh, my daughter, I had to kind of like beg her to eat it, you know, it was like, please don't be so ungrateful, you know, I have like, you know, gone to the trouble of like cutting all the stuff and like cooking it, you know. So let's actually just eat it without moaning. So she did, but she did sort of, you know, pull her face and not really want to eat it. Which then you just think, oh, why did I bother, to be honest? So, but yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, she's 11 and that's how 11-year-olds are, isn't it? So that's fair enough. This is my roses collection, and this one is the vintage desk. I think it's set 3, I think. Let's decide. You just want to as well just pay a little bit of attention on which way you're folding this, because obviously you're going to have a kind of like, you know, definite sort of pocket and other way, if that makes sense. So, you know, you just want to make sure you're going to be happy with the way round that the papers are going to look. Yeah, anyway, so that was that. So today, on my way back from the gym, I thought, oh, I'm going to do similar. So I'm not going to cook it in the slow cooker, you know, because I would have had to have started it already, and I haven't. So I have instead bought stuff for this. It's actually a cosy butternut squash stew thing, I think. But we are going to have sweet potato instead, because A, the shop didn't have any butternut squash, and B, I can't really cut butternut squash, if I'm truthful. You know, I find it a nightmare. So to be honest, I'd rather just actually do it, you know, with the sweet potato, which I find a lot easier to cut. This one again is that from the Vault set 2. So, oh, actually, I'm not sure I'm going to do that, because then I'm going to end up with blue on the inside, which is going to look rubbish. We'll do this one instead. Again from the Vault, and then this one is from the Peacock Palace in the pink. So, just check. So, yeah, anyway, I thought we'll have that tonight. So, yeah, not cooking that in the slow cooker, just doing that, you know, obviously on the hob. And obviously I'll cook that later. But hey, I'm going to try and do this at least a couple of times a week, like cook us a really nice, you know, family dinner kind of thing. And I'm just going to force them to just have it. I mean, like I say, my son actually seemed like, oh, actually, this is great, just have it cooked. My daughter was like, oh, you know, I hate your cooking, Mum, I didn't want that. So she obviously needs a bit of persuading, but never mind. At least they're going to be having like nice, healthy meals. Right, now I just want to decide which way round I'm going to be folding my pieces in, you know, when I'm folding them, if you see what I mean. Again, this has got that where the printer's not quite printed borderless, so I'm just going to take that slither off like that. Okay, so I'm going to go through and just do that with any that have got, you know, a bit of non-borderless edge on there like that. Okay, yeah, so that was that really. What did I do at the weekend? Well, at the weekend, so on, I think it was on Tuesday, I bumped into like an old friend of mine who we were kind of like best friends for a while. Oh gosh, when I was probably like really young, like 14, 15, something like that. Haven't really seen her since, to be honest, you know, just, yeah, I don't think I've really seen her to speak to like at all since. And I bumped into her as I was coming out of a shop, and we kind of like chatted, you know, and then said, oh, you know, let's meet up, you know, for a drink kind of thing. And then when we got home, I said to my son, oh, I don't know why I said that. You know, why do I say meet up for a drink? Because I don't even drink. Why would I want to go for a drink? And I said to him, I mean a coffee, really. So I messaged her and said, you know, we're like friends on Facebook. So I messaged her and said, oh, it was so nice bumping into you. You know, are you free on Saturday? Or, you know, when you're free? Are you free this weekend? And she said she was free on Saturday. So she was having her hair done, and then she was going to be free later. So said, shall we meet? So we arranged to meet at 2:30. So my daughter was having a friend over for a sleepover, and my son was going out for the day. Now, again, just I need to concentrate quickly, so I have to just sort of stop talking for a minute while I focus, because otherwise I lose my train of thought. Just so that I make sure that I get them the right way round, whether I want the pockets on the outside or the inside. And I'm just being guided by what my paper looks like. So whether I've got like something I really want on the cover or not, if you see what I mean. Anyway, so so far I'm doing them all inside, which is weird, isn't it? Yeah, anyway, so on Saturday morning, went to the gym, you know, went for coffee with our gym friends and things like that. And then my son was going out, so, you know, that was that. And then my mum has had her hip replacement operation, and she's, being, you know, being done kind of like the hospital is quite near our house. So she was in there. It was done on Friday. But she was actually told she was allowed out on Saturday, would you believe? Which I couldn't believe that, to be honest. So, yeah, she was coming out on Saturday, but of course not until later. And then my daughter's friend was going to be here, so, you know, I didn't want to obviously go down and then be seeing her when my daughter's friend was here. So I said to my mum, oh, you know, perhaps we'll come and visit you quickly whilst you're having your, you know, whilst you're in the hospital kind of thing. So when I got back from the gym, quickly kind of like got ready and everything, and then went to see my mum with my daughter. And then by the time we got home, you know, I mean, the time just whizzes by, doesn't it, to be honest? So by the time we got home, her friend was then arriving. Yeah, I'm going to have it this way. Her friend was then arriving. So that was that. And then I was meeting my friend at 2:30. So again, I literally had kind of about 45 minutes before meeting my friend. So anyway, I went to meet my friend, and it was so nice because, do you know, I'm really sort of weird like this, but I started getting really nervous about it and thinking, oh, you know, I wonder if that's going to be okay. Because although we were like really chatty in the shop, I just thought, oh, you know, actually being like for coffee, that's going to be like really awkward. Imagine if we run out of things to say. Well, we didn't. It was absolutely lovely. And, you know, kind of like, obviously, so much has happened kind of over those years. And we didn't even touch the surface, you know, of what we've both been up to. She's divorced, I'm divorced, you know, all these different things. So it was so lovely. Had such a nice time. So we're there for about an hour and a half. She's also got 2 sausage dogs, which was really, you know, fun. So, yeah. Then left there, I went to kind of like a couple of shops to pick up like some bits for my daughter and her friend for their sleepover. I just got like some pizzas for dinner, and then some, you know, like popcorn and some, what are those things called? You know, that party mix tray kind of thing of like the cheeselets and all of those kind of things. And they've got like pretzels and things like that. I just got them one of those so that they had some nice like fun snacks for the evening. And then, yeah, got home, and of course by the time I got home it was about, you know, 4:30, 4:45, something like that. And do you know, I never kind of, I'm doing nothing, you know, like I'm either working or someone's chatting to me, you know, like my son will come in, my daughter will come in or whatever, or then my mum and dad will FaceTime me, or, you know, there's always kind of somebody, or then somebody's messaged me, so then I'm messaging someone. There's never a time where I just do nothing, you know, or my daughter's like, oh, can you run so-and-so back, or can we go to the shop to get this? You know, there's never a time where I'm literally just doing nothing. On Saturday afternoon, so it was about 4:45, probably 5 o'clock by the time I got home and made myself a cup of tea and things. And, you know, I just literally went to bed, didn't get in the bed, obviously, but just sort of sat on my bed. Didn't even put the TV on or anything. I had Bo under my throw with me, so really nice and cozy and snug by my feet. And, you know, I just looked through some magazines, old magazines that I've had for a couple of years, so they weren't even in date or anything, but just flicked through those magazines again. And then I looked like on Pinterest and things, not at work things, so nothing to do with junk journals, nothing to do with, you know, anything work related, just rubbish, you know, just looking at rubbish. I must have done that. Well, then I had, so I went and fed Bo, and then I had, really unhealthy, a giant family bag of salt and vinegar crisps for my dinner. Yeah, really, really, really bad. But, I mean, I'm just kind of addicted to them. And I have, you know, I just have them on a Saturday night now. That's my little kind of treat to myself for the week. So I had those for my dinner, just out of a bowl, you know, put them in a bowl, ate those. And obviously a massive, great big bag of them. And, you know, I had the nicest afternoon, you know, like, so my son got home about 8:30. My daughter, obviously, I didn't really see her, you know, at all, because she was just busy with her friend. So, you know, they were kind of like in her room, but with the door shut, you know, so I literally didn't see them. I could hear them, obviously, from time to time laughing or coming out to go to the toilet and things, but I just literally didn't see them, you know. And then my son got home at about 8:30 or whatever, and he said, you know, did you have a nice day? What did you do? And I said to him, do you know what? I've had, like, weirdly the nicest afternoon, like, for ages. I just did nothing. And, you know, like, I just never do nothing, sort of, or never do what I want to do, perhaps I should say. So it wasn't so much the doing nothing, it was the doing what I'm choosing to do. Because normally, whatever I'm doing is either work, and I'm not saying I don't love, you know, love my work, I do, but, you know, kind of like I'm either working or maybe doing something for someone else, or, you know, just, yeah, just interacting with other people or something. So just doing nothing and doing totally what I wanted to do. So totally like mindless looking on Pinterest, mindless kind of scrolling the, you know, internet and things. Totally nothing. You know, whereas normally I've got like something on TV, but I'm still doing stuff on my laptop, or stuff on TV, but I'm still fussy cutting, or, you know, yeah, something, you know, or I'm doing a shopping list, or, you know, I'm looking for something like someone for a present, or, you know, there's always something left to do, isn't there? You know, getting an insurance quote. So, you know, kind of there's always something. And that was the first time that I'd done literally, and it felt so indulgent and so lovely that, I mean, this just sounds so sad, to be honest, because what a sad afternoon I had. But, you know, I literally felt like, wow, I am living the dream here. So, I mean, isn't that just like ridiculous? But yeah, I literally felt like, wow, I am living the dream, sat here, like, you know, with Bo here on my feet, keeping me cozy. Literally just, yeah, doing kind of nothing at all, eating crisps. I mean, does life get any better than that? I mean, wow, that's just so sad, isn't it? To anyone who has a proper life, you know, as opposed to just a rubbish existence. But yeah, anyway, I had such a nice time. And then Sunday, so it was my dad's birthday. He was 75, and my mum had now come home from hospital. And so I went for a Costa with my son. My daughter was still, you know, her friend was still here, so they obviously didn't want to come. So I went for a Costa with my son, and then I just went to my mum and dad's on my own. So I took Bo, you know, again, obviously my daughter was, you know, still with her friend was still here. So I said, you know, do you both want to come with me? But, you know, that's probably not a great deal of fun for your friend. So they obviously stayed here. My son was, you know, busy doing stuff anyway, so he didn't want to come. So I just took Bo, and me and Bo just went down to their house and, you know, spent like a couple of hours at their house. So that was really nice. And then, you know, obviously my mum was home now, so that was quite good. You know, just didn't expect her to be home so quick. So yeah, that was really, really great. And then got home at, I don't know, 5 or something like that. And obviously then had to take my daughter's friend home. So quickly ran her home. And then, you know, so it just worked out like brilliant. And yeah, I just had such a lovely weekend. So I kind of didn't want it to end, you know, like one of those weekends. It's like, oh my goodness, I've really just enjoyed doing just what I wanted to do all weekend. And it was just lovely. So yeah, really a bit sad, but yeah, I really enjoyed myself. Yeah, what was I going to say on that? So anyway, that was that. Oh, and then something absolutely lovely. So my dad's not been too well for a couple of years, but touch wood, he's doing really well now. So, you know, fingers crossed, he's doing well. Anyway, so him and my mum are taking us all on holiday now. So, yep, we've all just booked. So, it's going to be my 2 sisters. So, Natalie, who used to work with me, she and her son, who is about a year older than my daughter. So, her and her son, my mum and dad, obviously, my older sister and her husband, because her children are grown up, and then my daughter and myself. My son, obviously, he could have come, but he's got no, you know, annual leave from work. So yeah, they had taken us on holiday. So we are doing like the transatlantic cruise. Like, I think it's the 31st of October that we're going. So yep, just booked it, and yep, it was a bargain price. So yeah, unexpected holiday there, which is, you know, absolutely awesome. So yeah, can't wait for that, I must say. So I mean, never done that before, and obviously you have to fly back, so it's yeah, they would call it a fly cruise, I think they call it. Never done one of those before, but yeah, I mean, hopefully it's going to be lovely. Let's be honest, all holidays are lovely, just because, you know, no cooking, not that I do any anyway, as we just discovered, but you know, no tidying, no pretending to cook, no shopping, you know, no any of the rubbish that we have to do at home. So yeah, cannot wait for that. So 31st of October, I think that is, and it's 2 weeks. So I should be really, really doing a lot of work between now and then, because obviously an unexpected sort of holiday. So, you know, I haven't got long to kind of like get ahead of the game, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I need to really get ahead of the game, really. So I will just be working a lot really between now and then. But yeah, that's really exciting, isn't it? So my daughter was obviously very, very excited when I told her. So yeah, lucky us, lucky us. So, and obviously, you know, really lovely to be able to spend time with my mum and dad. And, you know, because as well, you know, I said to them yesterday, you know, when I met up with my friend on Saturday, who I hadn't seen obviously for years and years, I mean, you know, unfortunately she had lost her dad about 10 years ago, which, you know, that's kind of, you know, a long time ago. And I mean, she's the same age as me. I'm 50. She's the same age. You know, so I mean, she was only 40 when she lost her dad. And now her mum's got signs of dementia. So, you know, of course, that's kind of impacted the quality of their relationship, I suppose. Because, you know, her mum doesn't always remember things, and well, I mean, obviously she doesn't remember lots of things to do with, like, I think she meant like daily life. She doesn't remember, like, say, you know, if she went into a cafe, she wouldn't really know how to order a drink. Obviously she does still remember who my friend is, but, you know, I mean, there could come a point where she won't remember that, you know, and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, kind of feel like, wow, so lucky to still have my parents, and they're both in, you know, good health. You know, so yeah, really, really nice. So yeah, very, very excited. Now, unfortunately, just spotted my, I think the clock says 42 minutes, 41 minutes, 41 or 42. So I've only got a couple of minutes now left to quickly make some of these, and then we'll have to stop and actually decorate one. So as always, I get carried away, you know, like with the very first stage, and I end up where I make absolutely loads, as in the first fold. And then, of course, there's no time to actually make all of them. You know, why do I think that I'm going to be able to make them all is just beyond me. But I do that every week. Never seem to learn. Oh, I just want to say a massive thank you, by the way, to anybody who's placed an order. So either in my Etsy shop or my, you know, physical website. I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, yeah, there's still lots of things left on my physical website. I mean, there's still some folio skeletons and things, and there's still the Halloween kits that I put in there. So I will try and do like maybe a video on Instagram or something like that to showcase that or something. Or maybe a shorts here or something. I mean, it doesn't really warrant a whole video exactly on its own, but yeah, I'll try and do something. And I've also put a folio in there. Let me just quickly show you, because I have got that sat still here. So it's this folio with a writing journal. It's just bound here with this bit of lace. So this is the writing journal. It's just got little wraparound closure with some sari silk, lots of vintage kind of documents and coffee dyed paper and things in there. So, you know, strictly a writing kind of journal there. Lovely and squishy. Very, very soft and tactile to touch. And then the folio itself, again, soft and squishy one. So really pretty cover, got lace and things like that on there. and then opens up kind of like 3 kind of like sides. Loads and loads of interactive foldy downs and uppy downs and flip outs and what have you, and loads of vintage documents and things like that in here. So again, lots of, yeah, interactive yumminess. Little kind of another kind of journal. I mean, I'm calling it a journal. I don't know really whether it's worthy of that name, but really, really lovely there. And again, lots of vintage documents and things in there. That's just been stitched on the sewing machine. And the cover's just made from some vintage, I think it was cover from a sheet music book. So that's really, really lovely. Yeah, loads of nice vintage things in here. And then finally got the final page with, again, lots of like, you know, yummy vintagey type things in there. And just a little flip out with some pages in there. So yeah, lots of journaling space in here. And obviously, like I say, it comes also with that writing journal. So yeah, really, really, whoops, really pretty folio there. So yeah, there, or that's on my shabbydabbydoodar.co.uk website. So if you wanted to kind of like, you know, have a look at that, then there's some pictures and things where you can see it kind of in slower time, really. So that's that one. Yeah, but thank you so much to everyone who has placed an order. I really do appreciate that so much. And thank you to anyone who's left a comment on my videos or anything. I really do appreciate that. So now I've got an apology to make. Quite often what's happening, I'm reading the comments and then I'm not replying. Now, part of that is because, I don't know what's going on with my, well, it's on my phone and my iPad. And actually, I think perhaps it must be on other people's phone and iPads as well. I can barely type on there. You know, like, I try and type, and you know, like when it comes up with the predictive text kind of thing, it's so annoying because I think it's kind of like predicted the text, and then it hasn't. It sounds really strange. I can't really even describe it. But, you know, like, I think it's predicted a word because it's come up with the word. So I then move on to do another word, and then it hasn't selected that at all. And I end up with utter rubbish kind of on there. And I have noticed 1 or 2 comments are in a similar format. So I think that must be like something to do with an update. But the other thing is finding it increasingly tricky to actually kind of like type, you know, and read the font on even my iPad, which is awful to admit. But yeah, you know, like before it was like just on my phone, so it's like just stick with my iPad and then I can sort of read it and see it. To be honest, I'm really struggling to actually kind of like read things properly. So I can kind of like read, you know, the comments, but to then read and then re-type, you know, it's really quite small font really. So yeah, you know, I don't know what's going on there, but I need to really get kind of like, I don't know, stronger glasses maybe. But yeah, I'm kind of holding out really, but because to be honest, I only started wearing glasses in COVID, and you know, they're a weak lens. I mean, they're just cheap ones from like a cheap shop here, you know, they're not prescription ones or anything. Because they're obviously really expensive. So yeah, I've just bought like cheap ones from a cheap shop, but they are a very weak lens. And to be honest, since wearing them though, my eyes have deteriorated quite a bit. Now, people do say that, don't they, about, you know, once you wear glasses, the deterioration really kind of like ramps up. Well, I would say that's true, because the deterioration has really ramped up. You know, my eyesight's now dreadful, where it wasn't really too bad. So yeah, kind of like don't really want to kind of like veer on to stronger ones, because, well, I mean, hopefully I've got lots of years left, which if you have, where do you go? You know, once you've kind of already, I mean, like in the shops that I buy the glasses from, I think the highest I've ever seen is only 3. So I don't know whether they go like way higher than that in the opticians, but of course then they'd be really expensive. So I wouldn't want to be having to buy those anyway. Yeah, I don't know, but let me know. What do you think? Do you wear glasses? And would you say that your eyesight's really like gone downhill since wearing them? Or do you think actually that's not rumour, but, you know, kind of not really true. I definitely think that's a thing. Now, the other thing to mention, if your paper's not double-sided, what you might like to do is just ink just on the edges of your pocket, because otherwise you're going to just end up with sort of like glaring white in there. So if you just ink up here, then when you can see into your pockets, they're just going to look slightly more, you know, slightly more interesting than perhaps they would if they were just plain white. So, I mean, most of my papers, weirdly, have been double-sided, so I haven't really needed to worry. But just if they are white on the inside, you know, you might like to do that, just because then it will look a bit more attractive. Can you see there? It just looks better, doesn't it? So, you know, that's another thing that, you know, like I said, with the mass making is quite handy, because over the times we've done these, you pick up more and more tips, don't you? And kind of think, oh, actually, that's, you know, that's worth doing, or that's worth doing. Which at first, maybe you don't kind of like even think kind of, you know, about things. So, yeah, that's something that I would just recommend doing. Unless you're fine seeing the white, you know, in which case, obviously, that's fine. But, yeah, I don't really think the white looks particularly great. So, I'd rather have it coffee dyed in there. Okay. Right. So, I probably had best decorate one out now, because I'm sure that we're now 50 minutes. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left to stick down. We've made loads. These are really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, we made 10. So that's pretty awesome, isn't it, to be honest? 10 is a lot. Right, okay, let's decorate one of these ones up. So I'm just going to have a look and see what I've got lying about. Oh, I've got one of my autumn pieces. Okay. Cut this down. So this is one of my autumn ephemera pieces for this year. Oh, I'm in the middle of an autumn folio actually as well, and yeah, worked on that a bit yesterday morning before I went to, you know, Costa with my son, and yeah, I'm really enjoying working on it, I must say. So I'm going to try and get that finished in the next couple of days. So yeah, I'll try and then get that finished and obviously put that up on my website as well. So, okay. I mean, weirdly, although that shouldn't really go on there, it kind of does, doesn't it? So, yeah, these papers, I think, these floral ones, they're going to be really handy and go with, like, literally everything that you put on there, I think. Especially this curtain fabric one. I don't know why I call it curtain fabric, but it looks to me like curtain fabric. You know, that sort of, I mean, it makes it sound really horrible, but you know, like what your nan had. She had like curtains and maybe like bedding even like this as well. And yeah, it just kind of like reminds me of that, to be honest. Okay. Right, there we go. And then, yeah, let's pop that there. So, our pockets are on the inside on this one. So, pop this on here. Now, I'm just wondering, actually, should we have... Just because I happen to have this black lace here laying about. Should we do the unexpected and go with the black? I mean, it's a bit, you know, a bit out there, but I don't dislike it. And then let's put a label on here. Now, shall we go with the blue? Okay. Okay. Oops. Just quickly ink this one up. Oh my goodness. I mean, that just looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And to be honest, there's like, you know, hardly anything to that. So just going to glue this down with a bit of hot glue. Again, I mean, I realise that's overkill, but just, you know, when you're doing a video and things, I just think, oh, you want something really quick and easy. You don't want to be messing about, you know, worrying about whether something's glued down or not. Okay. Looks gorgeous, doesn't it? And then I have this little label here. I have got a... I mean, this might be a step too far, to be honest, because this is quite a different shade of blue, but hey, let's see. I'm just like picking up things that are laying about. So, you know, this might have no place on there whatsoever. You know, probably won't. But hey, I mean, when it's inked, it might look okay. Oh, and this week there's that thing called the Smashing Machine. That's on at the cinema. So I've been really looking forward to this one. I can't remember, and I've talked about this before, but can't remember whose life story it's based on. But anyway, I think a boxer. I'm thinking, is he a boxer? Was he a wrestler? I can't remember. But anyway, the trailer looked really good. And those films are normally really good, aren't they? And sort of, you know, quite sort of emotional. Not that I know what the story really is about. It might not be anything like that. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be quite good. So I think my son and I are going to go and watch that on Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, let me know if you've seen it already, or maybe you've seen the trailer to it, or maybe you know who it's the story of, that I seem to just never be able to remember. It was someone who I hadn't heard of, I think. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be really good. So we're going to go and watch that on Wednesday. And then I might finish this off with like maybe a little bit of sari silk running down the side. So like that. Oops, put that just on there. And then what I'll do, I'm just going to put a little bit of black lace on the inside, I think. Okay. Oh my goodness, I can't actually see the right way and the wrong way of the lace. Let's just glue that down there. Oops. Like that. Okay. And then this one. Oops. Oh my gosh. Don't you hate it when you can't really see which is the right way and the wrong way? It's so annoying. I just put it like that. And then what I might do is possibly have another label or something in here as well, just to have that sort of bit of continuity there. So yeah, like that. And then yeah, should we just have a little label? Okay. And it's still looking like a gorgeous day out there. Really, really lovely. I always feel a bit guilty when the weather's lovely and think, oh, I should really, you know, be getting outside. But, you know, you can't really be doing all these things, can you? No. Oh, decisions. It's, you know, it looks good everywhere I'm putting it. It's like, oh no, it looks good everywhere. Right, let's just have it there. I'm going to have it like over to the edge. Like that. Okay. And then just snip this off here on this edge. Okay. And then, yeah, I'm just going to have a little bit of sari silk just running down the edge. I don't know why I'm saying a little bit. It's going to go right the way down. So not really a little bit. Just going to check that I do want the sari silk and not just have a little bit of lace running down the edge. Oh, I mean, the lace does look quite nice too, so let's see. Oops. Oh no, look what I've done. Cut like the most ridiculous tiny slither in the world. That probably does not look very good, does it? Oh my gosh, look. Look at that ridiculous slither. Now, do we like it with the lace or do we like it with the sari silk? Oh, I can't decide now. I think either looks really nice, to be honest. I don't think either is better than the other. I think it both looks really lovely. So we might just go with the lace because I've kind of cut that now, and otherwise that would just be wasted because I'm not sure what else I would use that on. Put a little bit of bling. Maybe. Right, let's put that bling here. Okay. Gorgeous. Right. Really need to decide. No, let's just go with the black lace because, yeah, like I say, I'm going to struggle to use that, you know, pathetic piece that I've cut, to be honest, anywhere else. So, my gosh, what's going on with this? Right. Put that down like that. Okay. Right, there we go. Okay, yeah, love that. Oops, love that. Obviously, you know, my lace is pretty shoddy shape, but I don't mind that, to be honest. It's all fine. Just trim that out there. Maybe just trim this here and a bit here. Right, there we go. Oops. There we go. Right, so yeah, that's that one. So what you've got is let me find something to show you. Okay, right, so you've got pocket here. You've got a pocket there. You've got a pocket here. And then you've got a pocket here as well. So really, really nice kind of pocket books, aren't they? Like I say, I love the fact that they're so quick and easy, really can knock out loads, which we did. And yeah, you can kind of use these in several different ways. So, I mean, obviously this one, the pockets are on the inside. So I could actually glue this straight down into a journal. I'd glue it on perhaps 3 sides, so it would be like a side loading pocket and then open out. You could always then put some baker's twine or something on to make it a, you know, tie up piece, or you could have a latch or something holding it closed, you know, lots of different options. Could also put some pages in there. So, you know, I'm not saying this, but just to give you an example, you know, could just staple some extra pages in, so you'd have like proper, you know, little booklet there. So unlimited kind of things that you can do with these, I think. So absolutely, yeah, love, love, love these. So have loads of fun if you decide to make these. Don't forget to share your pictures and things on the Facebook group and maybe on Instagram or anything like that. Don't forget to leave any suggestions of things that you would like to see in the Missing Mojo Masterclass on Friday, because don't forget, you know, I need your suggestions to kind of run the series. I think there's 4 episodes left. But yeah, I do need some extra kind of suggestions. Otherwise, you know, we won't really have a series. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate a big thumbs up to this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate you subscribing. Thanks so much then. Bye.